Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities, and I am talking with producer Jim Burke about his new film, Green Book. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
So before we get into the film, you are a Minnesota guy. You're back home right now. Tell us what brings you here.
My brother works here at this station, and I'm here to sort of premiere in Minneapolis, at least, my latest film, Green Book, at the Twin Cities Film Festival, which opens tonight.
Give us a little background on you growing up in the Twin Cities.
So I grew up in Edina, by and large. Went to Edina High School, then went to the University of Minnesota. Always sort of working odd jobs, but one of them was I was an usher at a movie theater, and therefore got to watch movies over and over and over again. And I realized I kind of liked that. I could see different things into it, and I didn't know it until later in life that that would be my calling.
Last time we talked to you, you were the Focus Features production president.
Yeah.
Now you're producing again.
Yeah.
What brought you back to producing? Was it just the love of producing?
Actually, it was weird. It was right after I talked to you. I came back to LA and they had I was under contract, and I said at the end of my contract, which had 2 more years, I'm gonna go back to producing. Because I felt so disconnected. I was connected to, but not connected to, more like a cousin of the film. And I wanted to feel more like its mother or father. And so they said, well, why don't we just try to work out a deal where you're the producer in residence here? So that took, a few months, and now I'm back to doing what is more authentically me.
And I've heard you say in the past that you are a film festival freak.
I am,
And you're here for the Twin Cities Film Festival.
Yeah.
And again, your hometown. What does it mean to have a thriving film festival here in your hometown?
I love it, and I love that the cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul can support a festival. I think they're important, and it allows people the opportunity to exhibit their movies to audiences that otherwise wouldn't see them. And that festival environment's great.
And you're kicking it off tonight. You're kind of the headliner. What does it mean to come back to where you grew up, you see your family, to show the work that you've done, bring it back home and show it in front of everybody?
Well, it feels great. I'm really proud. I'm proud of this picture, and I'm really happy that I'll be able to screen it tonight in front of a bunch of people that I love and that love me, So, yeah, it's exciting.
Public relations.
And speaking of Green Book, the film, how did you get involved in this film?
My old friend, longtime friend is a guy named Peter Farrelly. We made a movie together about 25 years ago called Kingpin. And,
great movie, by the way.
Thanks. And so, but that's not but I sort of drifted towards movies that were more about things, and he was great at making comedies like Kingpin or Dumb and Dumber or There's Something About Mary. But I'm always trying to say, Pete, let's make a movie together, but make it funny, but also about something. And he's like, yeah, no. And so eventually, I sent him books and things like that over the years. Eventually, he found this idea, a true story, and he said, I think I have it. And he told me the story, which became Green Book. And immediately we got down to it and started writing the script and things like that. And I think it's about 3 years later we have this film here.
For people that don't know, what is a Green Book?
Green Book was published prior to 1966. It was called the Negro Motorist Guide. And when you were African American and you were taking a road trip down south, this book helped you find the hotels you could stay in, the restaurants you could eat in, the gas stations, and then other cities to avoid completely because they were called sundown towns and you couldn't even be there after dark.
And you mentioned your connection with Peter Farrelly, who's known for films like Dumb and Dumber, Something About Mary, Kingpin with you. How does somebody go from making films like that to making something like this that's already has Oscar buzz?
So I believed that he could do this. And I saw this in him. He's very, very funny, but he's also interesting and interested and soulful and things like that. And so he knew that this was the next step he had to take off the comedy stage and into something that, it's funny, there's no question about it's funny, but it's more than that. And So I think that he has spent his life preparing himself to make this kind of film, and it's his best film ever.
And the writer of the film, the original writer, Nick Balalanga.
Yeah.
So this is about his dad, right?
His dad.
And he wrote this story a long time ago, and then he had to wait until
his dad told him the story.
Okay. But he had to wait till he passed away before he could.
Yeah, he waited till the other character in the movie, Don Shirley, passed away, because that was a condition of Don, who said, "You can tell the story, but wait till I'm gone." And but Nick Balalanga tape recorded his dad, Tony Lip, tell him this story, and he's been holding on to it, and he finally pitched it to another friend of ours, Brian Curry, and they said we should write it, and then he pitched it to Pete, and he says, "I'll write it too." And then the three of them came to me, and I said, "Okay, I'll produce it."
And is this the same Tony Lip that was an actor?
Yeah.
In Godfather and Sopranos and
Yes,
Goodfellas?
yeah. We don't mention that in the movie at all, but it's the same person, yeah.
Sounds like there's a lot of story to this story. A lot of different things that could be told beyond this
Totally.
this film. ...
at the end, yeah. A lot to learn about both of these people, yeah.
Mm-hmm. The cast. You have the best of the best for this film. Tell us about the cast.
Well, it starts with Viggo Mortensen, because this film is told through the point of view of Tony Lip. And Tony Lip was the Italian-American driver who was hired by Don Shirley, played by Mahershala Ali, to drive him on a concert tour through the South. And Viggo is, they say actor's actor, but he is a very difficult person to get into your movie. He really, really is. He's very fussy and particular.
What did you have to do to pull the strings for this film?
Well, it's sort of inside baseball, but I called his agent, who I knew for many, many years, and I said, "Listen, I only want you to ask him to read it. That's all. He doesn't have to say yes or no, but read it, and read the letter we're going to write to him. And if he wants to talk about it, here's how he does it." So he did read it, and he was interested in it, but he was afraid and, or concerned and things like that. And so he mostly talked to Peter, and Pete made him feel comfortable and made him know that Viggo Mortensen, a Danish person who grew up in South America, could play a New York Italian-American guy. And he finally agreed, and then he went and did all the research. He gained 50 pounds. He lived in Jersey and in the Bronx and met with all the relatives of the families involved and things like that, and just did his homework. He wore the guy's ring and his necklace and things like that. So, yeah, committed.
And Mahershala Ali, also coming off of 2016 Best Picture and Best Performance by an Actor in a Supporting Role in Moonlight.
Yeah.
Was it hard to get him to be a part of this film?
It was, of course it was hard, but it was easier once we had Viggo, because he's like insurance. I know I'm going to be acting with a great actor, and those two met each other because Mahershala was nominated and won for Moonlight, and Viggo was nominated for Captain Fantastic that same year. So when you're on that Oscar circuit, you're running into the same people over and over again. And they got to know each other.
Was it hard to talk your wife into being in the film?
It was hard to talk her out of it. We had to cut a 2-minute scene that she was a big part of out of that.
Does she end up in the film?
Yeah, she's in it.
So she is in it?
Yeah.
Was this her first film, or is she an actress?
No,
okay.
She's acted before, yeah.
Very cool.
She's dazzling.
Has she acted in your films?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But other people's films too.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
The reviews that are coming in are extremely good. Rotten Tomatoes has a 100% score right now. And
can you get higher than that?
I don't think you can. Maybe on this film, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll have to add another level.
Yeah.
And you won the People's Choice Award at the Toronto International Film Festival, and then I heard that you also won People's Choice Award at some other film festivals as well. Tell us about these reviews.
Boston. This will be our 5th or 6th festival. So every festival that I think has handed out. Well, I can't say for sure, but we've won a fair amount of film festivals, and so yeah. Audiences really, really respond to it, and Very much so, and it's connective because it's about race, it's about racial inequality, but it's delivered in a way that is so personal and connective that it's a film you can carry out of the theater with you. Yeah.
And there's already people talking about Academy Awards. How important is that? To me? To you and to everybody involved. Is that important, or is that kind of a side thing?
I mean, the sort of stock answer is, oh, well, it's an honor to be nominated, but I'm going to tell you that all I want to do is win the Oscar.
And you've been nominated, so
yeah.
You've been there, done that, but you'd like to take the next step, and
wouldn't you?
I would definitely like that. But like you said, a lot of people don't have the guts to say that they care.
Why not? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I care a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't control that outcome. Mm-hmm. But it is what I want. Yeah.
And
be nice.
As far as the story of the film goes, what kind of change or impression were you trying to make on people that see the film?
So that's not the way I approach a movie. I don't want to try to prescribe how people will feel about it. I just want to make a movie that I'm happy with and that I'm satisfied with, and it achieves that. And so, but if I, in sort of a global kind of view, I would think that I would hope that people would look at race relations, or take any kind of look at it, and then come to whatever conclusion they decide to come to. I don't think that you could, I just think that it's a good idea to raise the issue about why there is a need anymore for discrimination or prejudice. I would like if people thought about that. Yeah.
Is this your best film?
I don't know yet. I don't know if it is or if it isn't. It's definitely up there.
Is it your favorite?
I'm not sure about that either. You need to live with them for a while. You know, I go back, one of my favorites is Election. I love that movie, and that's 20 years ago, and most people didn't see it. But I think it's great. And,
what's your favorite film of all time? Something that maybe inspired you to get into making films? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have one favorite, but among them are Lost in Translation. I just love that film. Sofia Coppola's. Fargo is a great picture, amazing picture. When I was growing up, I saw a movie called Breaking Away. That was a movie that was sort of off the radar, but came up and was nominated for Best Picture, I think it was 1980. Really good movie. I like The Heartbreak Kid, kind of comedy. I like movies that blend tone, you know, comedy and drama or things like that. And I typically don't like straight action or straight anything. I want something more like life, something that's tonally complex. Yeah.
And as we mentioned earlier, you're back in your hometown right now, in the Twin Cities, and this is there's a big art community here.
There is.
What would you say to local up-and-coming filmmakers as far as advice? Do they need to leave the Twin Cities, or what would you say they should be doing now to get their career going?
Well, this is what I always say. And if you're a filmmaker and you're a writer, hopefully you'll be a writer too, then write in your own voice. Don't write what you think other people want you to make. Just because Fast and Furious has 9 installments, don't write a 10th. Write something that's personal to you, and hope for the best, because you don't want to succeed or fail on somebody else's. You want to succeed or fail based on your own intuition.
Being somebody that's very successful in Hollywood right now, that came from the Twin Cities and that is now kicking off the Twin Cities Film Festival, do you see yourself in the future being a bridge between Hollywood and the Twin Cities film community, or the festival going on in years to come?
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I want to encourage people who are making films here to do that, to do it well, you know.
Do you think you'll be back with this festival?
If I have a movie. Our business is really sort of fluid. You never know it's like life. You don't know if you'll be around tomorrow. So there are no guarantees, and that's what kind of that's what sort of drives you. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, where can people learn more about you and the film?
Well, Green Book, I'm sure has, there's trailers in theaters right now and online, and there's probably a big digital footprint for the film, and it comes out in 5 weeks, so there'll be more and more noise about it, and there'll probably be commercials here on the CW Twin Cities Channel 23.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Jim Burke, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Twin Cities, make sure you check out Green Book. It comes out November 21st.